Hi, I'm Darren from Harcourt's Done, and I have prepared a training session on Property 24, theme of how to become a Property 24 expert. So this has been recorded, so you can refer back to it at a later stage. You don't even have to take notes. And I'm going to dive right into it. So let's have a look. Okay, so the theme being how to become a Property 24 expert. This is going to cover the understanding of how Property 24 scoring works, and then how to get your listing at the top of the page search results, and also how to build the presentation of your listing to stand out from the rest. So this is not going to cover agent zone and suburb trends. Okay. We're just going to stick to how to become a Property 24 expert. Well, my next slide is just a summary of what we're going to learn. We're going to learn about Property 24, but we're also going to touch on marketing and customer service, as these all do overlap. So the first exercise, we need to look at it from the perspective of Property 24. To be the most used property portal, they want to provide the best user experience for their clients who are using their platform. These are buyers and agents. I've got a number of innovative ideas for improving the overall user experience for both buyers and agents, but that's for a different topic. For right now, we just need to know that Property 24 makes use of quality scoring and algorithms to showcase the best properties at the top of the search results. So this provides the best browsing experience from the buyers that are using the portal, because they're seeing the best quality content when they hit search inside their suburb. So right from the beginning, I thought to myself, there must be a ranking system and or an algorithm that determines the positioning of the listings as they're jostling for the top of the search results. So search results meaning you search a suburb, say for example, Kenridge, looking for a house. What is the default result in order of that appears from the top down? And it's very typical to a question of, are you on Google, are you appearing on page 1 or page 2? If you're on page 2, not many people are going to go and actually see you there. So the better chance if you're on page 1, the more chance that more people are going to keep opening up that listing. So I contacted Property 24 and asked them this question: do you make use of a ranking system? And they said, yes, we do. And they emailed me this document. So this is a document received from Property 24. I had added my own photograph here, my name, and I kind of go by the name of the Property 24 expert. So that's kind of as I'm doing my presentation to people looking to sell their house. So when I'm looking for that exclusive mandate, I talk about Property 24, and I explain that not many agents actually know about this. And I've become known as the Property 24 expert because I know how to get your property at the top of the search results. And as we know, more views and exposure, better chance of property being sold. I won't go into too much detail there just yet. Okay, so this is a document from Property 24, quality score and ranking. And the main thing over here at the bottom, ensure a higher ranking on Property 24. They tell you what they want you to do. To improve your quality score, include location and coordinates, so the street address, property on map. Sometimes there is a reason why we don't want to display that address. I won't go into details for that yet, but just know that Property 24 prefer to have that. Why? Because the buyer or the buyer experience, they would prefer to know where is the address or where's the property located. So that's why they would like this to be included. A detailed description, which is a strong listing title, and a detailed description of approximately two paragraphs in length. So not too long. I like to do bullet points. I do a short little intro there after bullet points. And I think your listing title, that's kind of your heading, is the most important. And to share a quick story where I sold an apartment in Somerset Heights, a little complex called Bellamy Ridge. It was a very plain Jane apartment, nothing super nice about it. It actually needed a good amount of work, but it had a garage in there. Now, the photographs, I can't display a photo of the garage as the first one. So what I did there was I made sure my listing title included the word it has a garage. So, or with garage. So everyone knew that this apartment had a garage, and then with my walkthrough video, we have to do my little intro talk on the property and the features, I announced that it has a garage. So the most important thing is to let everyone know that this unit had a garage. And when I was doing my research prior to listing this property, I had to go into every listing in the area of apartments, and I found 4 other units that had garages. One was nice and obvious because it was in the heading. The other 3, they were right at the bottom. Some of them didn't even explain it in the wording, but had a photo right at the end. So I assumed that it had a garage, things like that. And I sold that property in 3 days. All the people interested were just looking for an apartment with a garage. And many of them said to me, I've been looking for ages. I don't see anything in Social Heights. And me knowing, hang on, there are actually a couple of them out there. It's just that the buyers, they obviously didn't see that because the presentation and how the property was being advertised and marketed wasn't very good. So work on the key key features of the properties and the strengths and highlight that. Something like a garage, include that into your heading title. Okay, then they talk about quality and quantity. So for the photographs, they want at least 8, but preferably above 16. All to be clear, unique, and unwatermarked images per listing. Detailed information. So they want the earth size, rates and taxes, levies, full size. So again, from the buyer's point of view, you would like to know all of these details. It helps you give you information about the house or the property. And then a video or virtual tour. So you can do either or. I have found that there is preference for a video tour, and I've done this test with quite a few people actually, where I had both a video and a virtual tour on the same property, and I gave them the walkthrough video to watch and a 3D virtual tour, that interactive one where you have to tick around to explore the property. All of them said they preferred the walkthrough video because they could sit back, press play, watch it, and that was more keeping them engrossed and keeping their attention on the property all the way to the end of the video. Where the virtual tour, the perspective is a bit warped, and sometimes it's too interactive. You have to click too much to explore the property. And all the people that did the virtual tour didn't complete the full tour of the house. They kind of got a bit irritated or tired or possibly bored. Then they closed it before exploring the whole house. So I think a video tour is much better. Also gives you a chance to do a short little intro. When I say short, I would say keep it very, very short, less than maybe 30 seconds, just to introduce yourself. It's free advertising, and then again highlight the strengths of the property. If it has a garage or it has a low maintenance garden, etc., etc. You'll know what you want to highlight. Then the image size, so these are pretty default image sizes, 920 by 180, nothing special there. But it's more just they want it to be landscape and not portraits. And we have actually seen a few listings on Property 24 where the guy's taking cell-phone photos. It's portrait, looks horrible. Must be landscape. The last tip I want to say is when you're prepping your listing, do not go live until you have all of this included. So make sure you got all your details like your earth size, rates and taxes. Your walkthrough video must be live and ready to go. You don't want to hit live and your adverts publishes and you don't have all of these things. It's going to affect your quality scoring in a bad way. Even if you fix it later, sometimes it's a little bit too late. So that first interaction when the notification goes out to the buyer needs to be the best possible content. So page 2 of this, they just give an example and highlight again all the things that they are looking for. So again, this is from the perspective of the buyer. They would like to know all of these things. So I have actually got in my listing presentation back. Okay, it's on a virtual background, so this might disappear. Okay, but in my presentation pack, the usual Mockbooks Done one, I've got that exact PDF that I just showed you in the presentation pack. I talk about this and about me being the Property 24 expert, and I will get your listing at the top of the search results. And as we know, the more views and exposure we got, the more feet through the door, the better and quicker the property sell. So that makes me, that little part there, almost everyone goes, wow, that's really great. Because we all know we live in a virtual world. And from the buyer's point of view, I would say, sure, 90% plus of the buyers are coming from Property 24, those kind of places. question that I also had, which I haven't asked to Property 24 yet, is say the top of the list all have 100% scoring. And let's say hypothetically they're all on the same age, so they've all been up for 3 days. How does Property 24 determine which ranking or which one is going to be the top of the list? And I don't have an answer from them, but from previous experience, yeah, I do feel that the amount of hits or views, as we call it, on the listing, that greatly influences whether or not the listing is going to be higher up or not. And I have noticed that while ones that get really good exposure and a lot of hits on it, then they tend to stay at the top for longer as well. New listings coming into the market will always start at the top of the search results. This is to give them a chance for that visibility and exposure. After 24 hours, this is where the quality scoring and ranking system comes into play. So if they've got 100% scoring, they should stay at the top of the search results for the first 2 to 3 weeks. And this also if they're getting a lot of views and hits. So this is competing against other listings also with 100% scoring, and also taking into account other new listings coming in to the market. From my own research, I've noticed that after the 3rd week, and even if the listing has a lot of views or hits, it will start to drop off on the search results. And every week thereafter, it just gets worse and worse. And after week 6, it really, really drops off. And this is just because age plays a big factor. So even if you've got 100% scoring, getting loads of views, eventually, if your listing is old enough, then old enough in age, it's going to drop down. So Property 24 does not want to keep a listing at the top of the search results that's, say, 2 months old. So other way around this, so this is based on the organic search results, but the way to get around this, a paid featured ad will bump your listing to the top. And with our exclusive mandates, you all know we offer paid featured ads. So I like to do this in week 4 thereabouts. So when my listings start to drop off, then I like to do the paid ad just to bump it to the top of the search results again. Okay, notifications. So when are notifications sent out on Property 24? Whenever a new listing is uploaded, there's a notification that gets sent out to all buyers that are requesting properties within that criteria, a house, that area, price range, etc. So the first impression really counts, and to make sure that the listing is complete and correct before publishing with your videos, photos, all that stuff again. The other time the notification gets sent out if you list it as a reduced price. So you have to physically, well, not physically, but you have to reduce the price, actually reduce the price, and then flag it as such, that it's reduced price. And this will send out a new notification. So I would then strategically make use of this, and again, in sort of week 3 or 4, that's the kind of the time you're doing your market review with the seller, and you may be talking about price because you've explained to them, you've done all the other marketing that you promised. So now it's coming down to the question of the price, is that too high? And often we say, let's just reduce it by a small amount. It doesn't have to be a huge amount, but just reducing it, I think psychologically, I've noticed that it has a positive effect on buyers as well. But the important thing is the strategic use of reducing the price so that the notification gets sent out again. And usually you find there's a few new inquiries that come in after that. The third time that notifications are sent out is during a show house. So every time you're doing show houses, even if you just got a couple of viewings that have inquired, grouping them on the same day, it wasn't going to be a show house, but you can load it as such. Load it as a show house, even if it's for half an hour, and this will then send out that notification again. So for your typical weekend show houses, Property 24 did tell me that you need to mark the show house before Thursday at 12 o'clock, because these alerts get sent out Thursday evening or Friday morning. And that will email all the buyers again which properties are going to be on show. So these alerts create more clicks on the listing. The higher count of views, pushing up your ad again. Many times it's the same buyer just clicking on the listing again and again. But still, this is what we call examples of proactive marketing on Property 24. So understanding and utilizing Property 24's systems on how they're sending notifications out, using it to the best possible way. So again, let's look at it from the buyer's point of view. The research shows that the buyer may click on your listing several times before making the request to contact. So by having your listing at the top of the search results, having these notifications being sent out, as we just talked about, he's going to keep, or he or she is going to keep seeing your property listing popping up in front of him every time. The more times he sees the listing, the higher chance he'll make the request to contact you to see it in person. So I explained these Property 24 points to the seller. How are we going to leverage off the Property 24 system, making me the Property 24 expert, someone that he can trust for his mandate. So also, if he or she is quite technically inclined and you can gauge this with the person, you can then determine in how much detail you want to explain. But say if it's someone perhaps a bit more senior and that's technologically challenged, I won't go into such detail as I'm explaining to you now. But either way, showing them that you are the Property 24 expert helps you to acquire more exclusive mandates. Choosing our exclusive mandates includes professional photographs and walkthrough videos, which is a key component to getting that 100% scoring on Property 24. Would you agree that having an exclusive mandate with hardboards done gives you the best chance of keeping your listing at the top of Property 24 for the best exposure? So these are phrases that I use in my exclusive mandate. What else helps you get lots of views? The answer is price. So if you have the absolute best marketing presentation, but the property is overpriced, you're not going to get many hits on it. And even if you have terrible marketing, cell phone photographs, but it's priced crazily low, you're going to get lots of hits on it and will probably sell. So the ultimate is to have the best marketing possible with a competitively priced property. And if your seller is stuck on certain pricing or wanting to price higher to hopefully come away with a lower price, then maybe it's a good time to show them the pricing categories that buyers might choose. And in this example, I've just searched for Bonnie Brae and Bonnie Brook because there's some good examples that I wanted to show you. And as a buyer, sometimes they might choose what maximum price threshold they want to look at. So say, for example, this buyer qualifies for just under 2 million rand. He knows he can't afford anything over 2 million. So he's been pre-approved and he sets the maximum price for 2 million. Before I hit search, so at the moment still on default, I'm going to show you two properties. These ones over here. This one and this one is 2099. So it's just over 2 million, and possibly the seller is wanting around just under 2 million to take home as sales price. So in a case like this with these guys, I would definitely show them this is your search requirements for some buyers. They might choose a maximum price threshold, and when they do that, they will not see your property. They're completely excluding your property. So, and your property range and your buyers that are looking for around up to 2 million, that is probably the guy that you're looking for. If someone is looking for the next price category up to 2.5, yours is just over 2 million, there's a good chance they're willing to spend 2.3, 2.4, and then it's a different kind of property that they're looking for. So if you're close to a threshold, rather be just under that to make sure that you're opening up the property to all of those possible buyers, where the other way around, you're closing off the bulk of those buyers that will not then see your property. So I use this and explain this to the sellers, and quite often I've gotten them to adjust, especially if it's close to one of these thresholds. Say it's the 1750 mark, that's actually a really good one as well. And the guy wants to list it at 1.8. So no, come down to 1749, because then we're opening up again to making sure all of the buyers, if they set a max of 1750, they will see your property. We're going to talk about auction mandates. We're talking about low price listings getting a lot of views. Auctions does exactly that, but with the advantage of possibly selling at a much higher price, but thanks to the auction method. So the auction mandate also provides all the professional photographs and videos, but it also provides the paid featured ad on Property 24 for the duration of the 6 weeks of the auction mandate. So you know by default it's always going to be at the top of the search results. This is another reason why auction mandates is the best option for your client. In the case of an open mandate, the question is it worthwhile to still do these Property 24 tips? And I think the answer is yes. The purpose of this is to try outwork the competition. So if you do all the things that Property 24 asks you to do, even if the listing is grouped, within the grouped listing, so it groups you all, it recognizes the property is the same for all the different agencies. Within that grouping, Property 24 told me that they rotate through all those listings between every agency. But I've noticed that when I do all the scoring criteria that they ask me to do, and I always do walkthrough videos, I just think it's such a benchmark of, from the buyer's point of view, they expect and would want to see a walkthrough video. So I've noticed that my listing within the grouping, more often than not, was appearing at the top. So sometimes we would cycle down, but more often than not, it was always appearing at the top of the list. So I say it's a good way to outwork the competition. The other aspect of it is that see it as an opportunity to expand on your CV and your portfolio. And again, I want to keep a certain benchmark of excellence on how I do my property listings, presentation thereof. And now every listing I have, even if it's open mandate, I can share that on social media, Facebook, Instagram, etc. And the people there don't know if it's open mandate or exclusive mandate. They just keep seeing this amazing content and quality of how I list properties. And then the opposite is also true, where if you are doing poor quality, photos with a cell phone, things like that, and then you go share that onto social media, people might think, oh wow, is this how this agent uplists or uploads his property listings? And it doesn't look so good. So look at it that way, as even an open mandate, they call it low-hanging fruit. See it as an opportunity to build your CV, your portfolio of work, and try outwork the competition. So when discussing to the seller, difference between exclusive, auction, and open mandate, pros and cons thereof, this is a good point to talk about the buying pool. So there's a pool of buyers on Property 24, Property 24 being the biggest property portal and where probably 90% of our leads come from. It's the same buying pool, the same circle, and I draw a circle on my book when I'm doing this presentation to them. And I'll ask them the question, do you want one agent that's going to provide the best possible quality presentation of your home, and to achieve all the things that Property 24 is asking for to get it to the top of the list? And that equals the best exposure, the most inquiries, quickest sale, etc., etc. Or do you want to dilute the quality of your listing by adding on multiple agents? And you can show them. So you can go through open mandates on Property 24 and show them the difference of all the different agencies listing the same property, how the quality and the content of what they're advertising is often very different. Some of them are good, some of them are okay, some bad. So do you want to dilute the circle of your buying pool, or do you want to have one agent to capture the attention of everyone in this buying pool? And this is sometimes a good way in how you convert. If a seller is hesitant on signing exclusive mandate, convert it from an open mandate to exclusive mandate. We've spoken a lot about how to become a Property 24 expert. It's also included a lot of marketing stuff, which I said we're going to cover as it overlaps. Another part is customer experience or customer service. The question is, when does the customer experience journey start? And I'd like to say the answer is from when they first click on your property listing. What is the interaction with that first presentation of your property? And that comes down to the quality of the listing again. And that makes for either better or worse experience. for the customer. The next step is right after that, what is your interaction with them when they click request to contact? And the answer should be you call them as quickly as possible, the actual phone call. Then right after the phone call, you follow up with a WhatsApp message referencing to the address of the property and with all the links that they require. So I always say thank you for the chat with reference to the property listing links below and walkthrough video. And the listing link, I tried to do the Harcourt's website link rather than Property 24. And to also add that the walkthrough video, even though they could see it on the property listing itself, it's nice just to have there. All chance they will also send it out to other people. But the idea is to get them away from going back to Property 24. So now that you've got their attention, you've had that interaction with the phone call, you want to keep them from going back to Property 24. And you probably agree with the amount of times you phone someone, say, thanks for inquiry on my listing at so-and-so address. They sometimes say, oh, I don't know which one that is. I've sent a lot of requests or inquiries for lots of properties. So in this way, you make sure that you know you're talking about the same property. There's no confusion there. And again, it's a better experience from the buyer because they don't need to go back to Property 24. They've got your number, all the information and links are there, the walkthrough video. And any questions that they want to ask, they're now on WhatsApp with you, quickly communicate with each other. So I find that that is the best way to interact and engage with the clients. Little bonus tip for communicating on WhatsApp. If they made a request for viewing or they're attending a show house, I always, on the day of the viewing or the show house, I'll send them a WhatsApp just to say, looking forward to seeing you later at this time. Because sometimes people, they get the days mixed up or they forget that they're going to property viewing, or sometimes they just actually ghost you, which unfortunately does happen. But in this way, they should reply, hopefully, thumbs up at least, so then you know that they are coming. And to send them the map location, the Google Pin location as well. So with the address, we send them the Google map location. Just avoids any confusion, and then you know that they're going to arrive on time and in presence of mind rather than getting lost, being able to find the place. Then it's not a good first impression again when they arrive. They're sometimes irritated because they get lost, even though it's not their fault or it's not your fault. It's a nice little thing just to add, to send them the map location as well of the property. The last thing I want to end off for customer experience is my pro tip. With every interaction, put yourself in the perspective of the customer. Within that, you'll find the answer to everything. So that's my little saying or phrase that I like to say. I don't think I saw it anywhere. It probably is somewhere. I must have read it somewhere, but I've always said, put yourselves in the perspective of the customer. Within that, you'll find the answer to everything. With every interaction you do, every dealing, just put yourself in their shoes, and usually within that, you'll find the answer, how to handle them, how to give them the right information or answer that they're looking for. So bonus pro tip for Property 24 when wanting to print out the competitive properties on the market. If you just hit Control P for print, then you could save this as a PDF and then you could print it out there. I like to work in PDFs, just easier for further editing and adding that to a Lightroom report and so on. But I want to show you, if you scroll down, you're having these issues here, that it's not displaying the images of the properties. That is because we haven't scrolled down on the web browser. So the web browser only generates the first few photos. If you scroll down to the rest, it's actually generating, you can see popping up. So if we scroll down to the end, just to generate the pictures, if we do it again now, Control P for print, you've got all of your pictures of all the homes. So if you ever have that issue, because you need to scroll down to the bottom of the page, then you can save it as a PDF and then compile it as part of your report to print. And I always sort them in price low to high, so that when the clients are saying, they're looking at listing it just under 2 million rand, and these are the properties, this one from 1.7, then there's a big jump to, they're all just under 2 million. So if you can price just under this one, in order of sorting low to high, you're going to be first in line for that category of priced above 175 upwards. That concludes my tips and guidelines on becoming a Property 24 expert. If you follow these tips and guidelines, you'll become a better property professional. You'll definitely have much more exposure on your property listings, meaning more feet through the door, better offers, quicker sales, and better turnaround time. And the exposure is not only going to be on your properties, but it's going to highlight you as a better agent as well. If you can explain these things to your sellers, there's a higher chance that you can get more exclusive mandates. All the best and good luck.